Hello, my name is Pixie Lorindain. The topic I will discuss today is about the civilization in Africa and the Pacific Islands. The contents of this topic are events in the classical civilization of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai in Africa, way of life of the people in the Pacific Islands before the coming of the Westerners, important contribution of the people of Africa and the Pacific to the world, introduction of Islam in Western Africa, how the civilization of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai in Africa spread. Lastly, compare the civilization of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai in Africa. In the ancient history of the world, Africa and Pacific Islands are usually given enough attention, except for the Kingdom of Egypt. So, let's see why the geography of Africa involved in their civilization. So, the geography of Africa explain why the Africa is the last region to colonize and divided by the Western power. So, they called Africa Dark Continent because of the mysteries and savagery they expected to find in its interior. But the main purpose why it called Dark Continent because it remained unexplored for the fairly long period of time. Yun, napakatagal na discover yung Africa. Ang pinaka-reason kung bakit sobrang tagal na discover yung Africa is the Sahara Desert. Because yung Sahara Desert daw, nagsisilbi siyang natural barrier dun sa mga explorer para hindi nila mapunta kasi sobrang laki ng Sahara Desert. Then, unhabitable din yung Sahara Desert except for oasis. So, hindi naakot yung mga explorer na diskubrihin to. Yun din yung mga reason kung bakit pinakahuling na karoon ng civilization ang Africa. So, the Westerners called it Dark Continent because it had been explored late. Yun nga sinabi ko kanina, late siya na-explored because of the natural barrier, which is the Sahara Desert, to the other areas. It remained until a region which they limited knowledge until 19th century. Sobrang tagal. Pero kahit na naging natural barrier yung Sahara Desert, napakalaking itulong ito dun sa mga civilization na nabuo sa Africa. Okay, let me proceed. Let us look at the picture. As you can see, it is a wide and open grassland or a grassy area with trees. So, this wide and open grassland is located on the boundary of rainforests in the Africa. That is called savanna. So, the African savanna ecosystem is a tropical grassland with warm temperature year-round, with its highest seasonal rainfall in the summer. The savanna is characterized by grasses and a small or dispersed tree that do not form a close canopy. Because of this, it allowing sunlight to reach the ground. Next is the Sudan. So, as you can see, Sudan is located in the middle. It is located in the grassland north of the equator. So, Sudan is one of the largest and one of the most geographical diverse states in Africa. When we say diverse state, it is a state including people from a range different of social and ethnic backgrounds of a different genders and sex orientations. Next is the Sahara, or also known as the Great Desert of the Africa. It is located on the north of the equator. So, the Sahara Desert on Africa continent with an area of 9,200,000 square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world and the third largest desert overall. It's smaller only than the desert of Antarctica and the Arctic. So, it is bigger than Europe, but it's uninhabitable except for the oasis. Kung mapapansin niyo sa mapa, sobrang laki talaga ng Sahara Desert. Kaya, ito yung sa mga naging dahilan kung bakit nahuli na madiscover yung Africa and then nahuli din sila magkaroon ng civilization. Which is, sobrang laki na nga niya, uninhabitable pa siya. So, next is the oasis. Oasis is a place in the desert that has a fertile soil and water and be able to give life to the plants and animals. Ito lang yung habitable place sa Sahara Desert kasi ito yung may fertile soil and then water na kaya mag-support ng life ng plants and animals. Tapos, dito lang din sa oasis ka makakita ng mga small settlements kasi dito lang talaga yung place sa Sahara Desert na makakapagbigay sa'yo ng buhay because it has a fertile soil na pwede ka magtanim ng mga halaman and then the water. And then, dito rin daw nagsimula yung mga distinct culture and civilization sa Africa. Move on. After we know the geography of Africa, let us now know the civilizations that arose in Africa. As we can recall, Egypt is one of the earliest cradles of civilization in the world. So, Egypt yung parang naging base dun sa mga civilization na nangyari sa world. Pero aside daw sa Egypt, naging famous din yung Asum because it's become the center of trade back then. In the present day, it called Ethiopia. So, pareho ng Egypt and Asum, nakalocated siya sa Eastern Africa. So, the number of states also emerged in the region of Sudan whose wealth was founded on its control of the trade that crossed Sahara. At yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina na napakalaking tulong ng Sahara Desert sa civilization ng Africa noon kasi dito dumadaan yung mga traders. Ito yung route nila. Dumadaan sila sa Sahara Desert para makipag-trade. Then yung trade, napakalaking tulong nito sa isang civilization or state because trade can make a one civilization to become rich. As the topic goes by, makikita nyo, malalaman nyo kung ano yung mga civilization na yumaman because of trading. Tapos yung Western Africa, naging home of civilization siya. Tapos may mga na-develop din na empire dito sa Western Africa which are the Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. So, let's take a look at the Asum as the center of trade in Africa. Back in 50 CE, the Kingdom of Asum was a center of trade. Its trade was widespread and in fact, it had a formal agreement of trade with the Greeks. So, the elephant, ivory, rhinoceros, horns, perfume, and spices are the most common traded in the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean. In exchange, Asum imported textile, mirrors, copper, iron, and other commodities. Siyempre, dahil sa trading, iba-ibang mga tao ay nakakasalamuha niya, may mga bago silang natutuklasan. So, yung trading sa Asum noon, nagresulta siya na acceptance ng Christianity. Na-impluensyahan yung religion nila because of trading. So, in 395 CE, Christianity became the official religion of the Kingdom of Asum. Next is the Trans-Sahara Trade. So, Trans-Sahara are the various group of people established settlements along the trade routes. Yung Trans-Sahara, ito yung mga various group ng people na nagtayo sila ng settlements within the trade routes. So, sa mga daanan ng mga traders na gusto mag-trade sa iba't ibang lugar sa Africa, dun sila nag-decide na magtayo ng mga settlement. So, a prosperous trade developed between the North Africa and the Western Africa during the 3000 BCE. So, yung Western Sudan, naging region siya ng South of Sahara. Next is, traders from Carthage went to Sahara to buy precious jewelry and animals such as monkey, lions, and elephants. So, sino nga ba itong mga Carthage na to? So, Carthage was the capital city of the ancient Carthaginian civilization on the eastern side of the Lake of Tunis in what is now Tunisia. Carthage was the most important trading hub of the ancient Mediterranean and one of the most affluent cities of the classical world. It was said that elephant used by Hannibal in the Punic Wars against Rome came from the Western Africa. So, sino nga ba si Hannibal? Hannibal was a Carthaginian general and statesman who commanded Carthage main forces against the Roman Republic during the Second Punic War. He is widely considered one of the greatest army commanders in human history. Next, bakit nga daw ba tinawag na Trans-Sahara? Ito. Tinawag siyang Trans-Sahara because nomadic caravan traders crossed the Sahara bringing different kind of merchandise. So, camels were usually used in caravan kasi yung camel lang, so Sahara to, desert to siya. So, para makarame lang yung may kakayahang mabuhay sa ganito kainit na hayop. Next is the introduction of Islam in Western Africa. So, dito malalaman natin kung paano nga ba nagkaroon ng Islam dito sa Western Africa, kung sino naka-impluwensya at sino nagdala. So, yung Islam, una siya nag-spread sa Western Africa, papunta sa Morocco, papunta sa Ghana. So, ang nagdala nito yung mga Berbers. Ang mga Berbers, siya yung mga traders na galing sa North Africa. Yung mga Berbers, pupunta sila sa Western Africa para bumili ng gold in exchange sa kanilang books, copper, swords, silks, pots, and other merchandise. So, yung Islam, ang mga nagdala nito is yung mga Berbers na kaya din siya nadala dito sa Western Africa because sa reason din ng trading. Next, dumako naman tayo dun sa mga empire na na-develop sa Western Africa. Unahin na natin ang Ghana Empire. So, the Ghana Empire was the first state emerged in the Western Africa. A strong state flourished in the region due to its location south of one of the end of the Trans-Sahara Trade. So, eto nga yung Ghana Empire na maganda yung location. Parang siya yung malakas dahil because of sa yung location niya kung saan siya nakatayo. So, in Ghana, there was a large market for various products such as ivory, ostrich feathers, ebony, and gold. Tapos yung mga product na to, yung mga product na sinabi kong una, ito yung pinapalit ng mga native sa mga product na wala sila, katulad na lang ng salt, copper, figs, dates, iron weapons, leathers, and others. Mga tao dito in-encourage to cultivate crops because of the fertile soil of the large plain in the region. Tapos yung assurance din na meron silang sufficient food and good water. Yung isa sa mga naging rason ko bakit nag-increase yung population ng Ghana Empire. Tapos yung the wide and open grassland coupled with the availability of the horse encouraged the adventurous ones to explore the different part of the regions. And the Ghana used the iron weapons that get brought to establish its supremacy or the superior to other groups whose weapons are weak. And then lastly, the horse to give a safe and a fast means of transportation for its warriors. These were the reason why Ghana was able to establish a large territorial empire. While there were many city-states and small kingdoms in the West Africa for centuries, the Ghana Empire was the first major agrarian empire to arise in this region. Sila yung unang nagtanim. Its history is shrouded in mystery. While they had a complex society, a division of labor, wealth, and trade, the Ghana Empire did not have a form of writing as we know it. Yung Ghana Empire, ito yung nakakasad na reality dito kasi wala silang form of writing, hindi sila nakabuo. Next is the Mali Empire. So, the Mali Empire was a successor state of Ghana. Yung Mali, nag-started siya sa state ng Kangaba. Yung Kangaba is the one of the most important outposts of the Ghana. So, the rise of Mali to power was started by Sujata Keita. So, sino nga ba si Sujata Keita? Si Sujata Keita was a prince and a founder of Mali Empire. The Melanesian ruler Mansa Musa, who made the pilgrimage to Mecca, was his great-nephew. Sujata Keita died in 1255 from an unclear cause, though some believe he was killed in an accident. Sujata Keita invaded and ended the power of Ghana Empire. Yung Mali Empire nag-spread siya eastwards toward the valley of the Senegal River and the Gambia River, eastwards toward the Timbuktu, and the northwards toward the Sahara Desert. Since yung Mali Empire is a successor state of Ghana, when we say successor state, it is a sovereign state over the territory and lands that was previously under the sovereignty of another state. At that time of death of Sudiata in 1255, Mali yung pinakamalaki at most powerful empire sa western part ng Sudan. Katulad daw ng Ghana, yung Mali naging mayaman siya because of trade. When Mansa Musa took over in 1312, he further extended the territory of the empire. So, sino nga ba si Mansa Musa? So, Mansa Musa was the ruler of the Kingdom of Mali from 1312 CE to 1337 CE. During his reign, Mali is one of the most richest kingdom of the Africa. And Mansa Musa was the richest individuals in the world. His riches came from the mining significant salt and gold deposit in the Mali Kingdom. Tapos, di ba nabanggit kanina, si Mansa Musa is a great-nephew ni Sujata Keita. So, by 1325, the large trading cities such as Walata, Tijin, Timbuktu, and Gao came under the Mali Empire. Aside from expanding the territorial boundary of the empire, Mansa Musa also became famous for the premium that he gave for learning. He built mosques in the cities of the empire, he invited scholars to go to Mali, and during the period of his reign, Gao, Timbuktu, and Tijin became the center of learning and worship. The Mali Empire was an empire in West Africa from 1235 to 1670. The empire was founded by Sujata Keita and became renowned for the wealth of its rulers, especially Mansa Musa. The Manding language were spoken in the empire. So, yung language na ini-spoke dito sa empire nito was called Manding. Okay, let's proceed to the last empire that arose in the Western Africa, which is the Songhai Empire. So, sabi dito, simula pa daw ng 8th century, yung mga Songhai, nakikipag-trade na talaga sila sa mga Berbers. Yung mga Berbers na pupunta doon sa mga trade routes along the Niger River every year. So, yung mga Berbers, sila yung nagdala ng Islamic faith dito sa Western Africa. So, by 1010, Daya Kosoy, the king of Songhai, accepted the Islam. So, sino nga ba si Daya Kosoy? Si Daya Kosoy is the first Daya or king of the Songhai Empire to enter the historical record. He was responsible for converting the empire to Islam in 1010 CE. concurrent with the shift to Gao as capital. So, while he encouraged the people of the Songhai to accept Islam, he did not force it upon them. Kahit naman na inaccept ni Dayak Lusoy yung Islam faith, hindi niya naman pinipilit yung mga ibang tao na tanggapin yan. So, Songhai traded with the Alagria through Gao and Timbuktu because this Songhai was able to establish relations with other areas under the Islamic Empire. So, lumawak yung pwede nilang pag-trade nito mga Songhai Empire kasi may mga naka-establish na relations sa mga kapwa nila nag-accept ng Islamic Empire. So, noong 1325, yung Mali Empire invaded and captured the Shanghai Empire. Pero, di naman nagtagal na under ng Mali Empire yung Songhai. Kasi, nung dumating yung New Dynasty noong 1335, the Sunni emerged, successfully regained the freedom of Songhai from Mali. So, the Songhai Empire first came into the power under the leadership of Sunni Ali. Sonny Ali was a prince of the Songhai. The Songhai Empire started out as a fishing and trading center at the Niger River in a place called Gao, where West African and Muslim traders visited often. So, Sunni Ali was the first king of the Songhai Empire located in Africa and the 15th ruler of Sunni dynasty. Under Sunni Ali's command, many cities were captured and then fortified, such as Timbuktu and Beijing. So, during his reign, he extended the Songhai Empire from the boundary of present-day Nigeria until the Beijing. So, malaki yung nasakop na lugar ng Songhai Empire because of Sunni. Pero ito si Sunni, dito sa Songhai Empire, hindi niya inaccept yung Islam kasi naniniwala siya na yung power niya, tapos yung mga support ng tao niya, yung mga tao doon, yung mga fishermen and then the farmers ay enough na daw para maging strong yung empire nila. So, pero nevertheless, he respected the Muslim traders and the scholar of the empire. In fact, he appointed some of them as employees of government. So, let's not go to the civilization that arose in the Pacific Islands. So, the islands in the Pacific or Pacific Islands are divided into three largest groups, which are the Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesian. Yung mga yun, yung sinabi ko na Polynesia, Micronesia, and then the Micronesia, those terms were given by the Westerner. Binigay ito ng mga Westerner after nila makita yung geographical configuration of area and yung mga itsura ng mga native. So, yung una, yung Polynesia, tinawag nila itong Polynesia kasi ibig sabihin ng Polynesian and then Nesia means island. So, ibig sabihin, marami yung mga tao dito sa Polynesia. And then next is the Micronesia. Small scattered island located on the north of the equator. So, tinawag yung micro, ibig sabihin nun, di ba, small, and then Nesia island. So, tinawag nila Micronesia to kasi nakita nila ng mga Westerners na yung mga island dito sa Micronesia is maliliit. Tapos, yung huli, yung Melanesia, tinawag nila to Melanesia kasi nakita nila yung mga nakatira dito, dark skin sila. Kaya tinawag nila to, yung Melanesia, ibig sabihin nun is Black Island. So, the first islands in the Pacific which are outsiders or foreigners reached were New Guinea, Australia, and Tasmania. So, these islands are believed to be connected with one another during the Pleistocene age. So, ano nga ba yung Pleistocene age? So, the Pleistocene is typically defined as the time period that began about 2.6 million years ago and lasted until about 11,700 years ago. The most recent ice age occurred then, as glaciers covered huge part of the planet Earth. Estimated more or less 40,000 years ago daw na pinaniniwala na nakarating yung foreigners dito sa Pacific Islands. Yung mga foreigners na yun galing daw siya sa Southeast Asia at nagsasalita sila ng Austronesian language. So, ano nga ba yung Austronesian language? Austronesian language are the language family widely spoken throughout maritime Southeast Asia, Madagascar, the island of the Pacific Ocean, and Taiwan. There are also a few speakers in continental Asia. Tapos, there were a part of the Austronesian migration from southern China. So, ano nga ba yung Austronesian migration? The Austronesian migration or expansion is a large-scale migration of Austronesian out of Taiwan that occurred around 3,000 to 1,500 BCE. Pero yung movement daw ng Melanesia is westwards towards Polynesia and northwards towards Micronesia. Hindi daw siya nag-occur agad-agad. Nag-occur daw ito estimately about 4,000 to 3,000 years ago. In the study of the civilization of the islands in the Pacific, it is important that we look into the society of the people before the arrival of the Westerners. Let us now discuss the Polynesia. So, sabi ko nga kanina, yung poly means many, Nesia means island. So, mas sobrang laki ng Polynesia, kaya marami ditong islands at marami ding tao na kayang isupport na lugar na to. So, sabi nga dito, yung Polynesia is larger than, mas malaki daw yung Polynesia kahit ipag-combine yung Melanesia and then the Micronesia. Ito yung mga lugar sa Melanesia. Sa Polynesia. New Zealand, Eastern Island, Hawaii, Tuvalu, Wallis, and Fortuna, Tonga, Tokelau, Songhai, American Samoa, Nike, Cook Islands, French Polynesia, Austral Islands, Society Islands, Tumotu, Marquesas, and Pitcairn. So, yung site ng mga settlement dito is mga 30 families ang kayang i-accommodate ng every settlement. So, sa Tuwa, yung center ng settlement sila usually nasa slope of the mountain. Sa Tuwa din daw ginaganap yung mga rituals and meetings. Tapos, dun around Tuwa were the quarters of the priests and the other holy structures. Thus, the principal occupation of Polynesian was farming and fishing. So, yung mga common crops na meron sila is taro, yam, breadfruit, bananas, sugarcane, and coconut. Tapos, yung mga tao dito, through fishing, nakakuha sila ng tuna, shrimp, octopus, and other resources. Minsan, nakakahuli din daw sila ng mga shark. When it comes to religion naman, naniniwala sila sa divine power or mana. Ibig sabihin daw ng mana is power or strength. Among the older Polynesians, mana was given by the gods to a person who possessed an extraordinary skill, courage, or knowledge. Sabi daw nila yung mana daw, matatagpuan daw siya sa building, stone, tool, and other objects. May mga laws din daw na kailangan sundin para daw hindi mawala yung mana para magstay sa'yo. Ilan sa halimbawa ng mga laws na yan, yung ordinary person daw, bawal siyang pumasok sa mga holy places. Tapos yung mga ancient woman daw ng Marquesa sa northeastern island of the Polynesia, hindi daw pwedeng sumakay ng boat kasi naniniwala sila na madidefile yung mana kapag ginawa nila yun. Next is the Micronesia, which is micro means small and nesia means island. So, yung mga Micronesia o yung mga small islands na to matatagpuan sa north of Melanesia and east of Asia. Yung Micronesia, ito yung mga lugar na made up siya. Caroline Islands, Marianas Island, Marshall Islands, Gilbert Islands, now Kiribati, and Nauru. The Asian settlements here were found near the Lake of the Sea, where it's easy for the boats to set sail while being protected from a strong gusty wind. Katulad ng mga Polynesians, farming din yung principal occupation ng mga Micronesians. At ang mga tinatanim nila is taro, breadfruit, coconut, pandanus. Aside from pandanus, the area is abundant in sugar and starch that may be made into flour. Fishing and gathering turtle eggs were the other occupations. Society and Marianas, Palau, and Yap knew how to make simple pottery. Dito daw, yung mga trade daw sa mga neighboring islands were frequent. So, in Palau and Yap, stone and shell were used as medium of exchange. Nakikipagpalitan sila with the use of stone and shell. So, the high-lying and the low-lying island exchanged turmeric, which was used in medicine and some sort of cosmetic. Yun yung mga low-lying and high-lying island, yung pinapalit nila yung turmeric. Yung turmeric, ito yung ginagamit sa medicine and minsan daw sa cosmetic. Yung mga low-lying lands daw, in-exchange nila yung shell beads, mats made of pandanus leaf, and coarse textile made of banana or hibiscus weave. As textile, this was made into skirt for the women. Yung textile daw, ginagamit siyang skirt para sa mga kababaihan noon sa Micronesia. Di ba yung religion sa Polynesia is mana? Dito naman sa Micronesia, animism yung religion nila. Ano nga ba yung animism? Animism is a belief in a supernatural power that organizes and animates the material universe. Yung attribution doon na may soul, yung plants, inanimate object, and natural phenomena. Sabi dito, rituals in honor powerful gods consisted of offering of the first harvest. Kasi nga, di ba, farming yung principal occupation nila. Lastly, the Melanesia, which means dark skin. The Melanesia can be found in the north and east of the coastal area of Australia. It is made up of New Guinea, Bismarck Archipelago, Papua, New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, formerly New Hebrides, New Caledonia, and Fiji Islands. Yung mga Asian settlements na to, nakalocate sila near coast in its interior. Tapos, pinamumunuan to ng mga warriors. And then, yung pagpili ng mga leaders dito ay in the way of victory in the war. Yung kapag nanalo ka ng war, ikaw yung pipiliin na magiging leader dito sa Melanesia. So, in many Papuan groups, cultural orientation was shaped by ethics of warriors such as courage and violence, revenge and honor. In the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, revenge or blood feuding often occurred. Yung principal crops naman nila is the taro and yam, and then nagko-cultivate din daw sila ng sago and then ng pandanus. Yung fishing, domestication of pigs and hunting are the marsupials and birds were the other occupations. Yun yung imang occupation nila. Fishing, pag-aano ng pig, and hunting. Nakikipag-trade din daw sila. Yung mga products na pinag-trade nila is yung pots, wood for boat making, yam, pig, salt, and lime. Yung mga ancient Melanesian, naniniwala sila sa animism katulad ng sa Micronesian. Nature gods reveal to the people significant events na nakikita daw yung nature ng gods kapag victory in war, accident, death, or improvement in livelihood. Yung Philippine mana, nag-widespread din daw siya sa Solomon Islands and Vanuatu noon, dito sa Melanesia.